One of the greatest rivalries in boxing storied history is Sugar Ray Robinson versus Jake Raging Bull LaMotta. These two fought 6 times, so you know they have a lot of history between them. So for all the new boxing nerds and the old ones, let's take a deep dive into the lore of this long battle. To get started, let's go back in time to the 1940s, where two young fighters will meet for the first time, one prodigy and one tough son of a gun. But for their first fight in October of 1942, LaMotta was known as a straight-up brawler. And as you know, to be a fighter like that, you gotta have a granite chin. And that he had, with all his losses up to that point only being by decision. Nobody had been able to crack the Raging Bull's chin. And in the other corner, we got Sugar Ray Robinson, an undefeated young star coming into this fight with a record of 35-0 after an undefeated amateur record with 80+ wins. Due to his status as a prospect, Robinson would be given the odds to win this match by a considerable margin, but some fights ain't as easy as it may seem on paper. But Robinson would make it look easy, dominating their first matchup on the way to a unanimous decision. They would have their second matchup a few months later in February of 1943. LaMotta would use his weight advantage and bully Robinson into a slugfest, which LaMotta would get the best of, winning by decision, and giving Robinson his first loss in 40 pro fights. And 21 days later, they would meet again on February 26th in a rubber match. Robinson would go back to what worked for him in the first fight and box his way to another decision win, breaking the tie. They wouldn't fight for 2 years after this, but all roads would lead back to them being in the ring with each other on February 23rd, 1945. And after cutting LaMotta and withstanding some more punishment, Robinson would get another win, bringing the series to 3-1 in Robinson's favor. They would meet for a 5th time later on that year in September, and this would be the closest fight yet. LaMotta would come out aggressive, but Robinson would still stack rounds, building up a lead in the 12-round fight. Robinson would start to pace himself, not trying to tire himself out, and LaMotta would start to capitalize on the slow pace, making the fight as close as possible. But in the end, Robinson would get the win, although he was treated to some boos after. Robinson would state this match as his hardest when it came to this rivalry. This fight would be their last fight for 5 years. Robinson would go back down to welterweight, eventually winning the title, and LaMotta would get some gold for himself, winning the middleweight title. They would meet again in their 6th match on February 14th, 1951.
Ladies and gentlemen, the International Boxing Club proudly presents 15 rounds of boxing for the World Middleweight Boxing Championship.
This fight would start as per usual in their rivalry, with LaMotta coming out aggressive and Robinson trying to weather the storm and box his way to a win. But in the 11th round, Robinson would get rocked by LaMotta, but Robinson would survive and actually end up dominating the rest of that round. In round 13, after another dominating round by Robinson in round 12, he would do his best to put LaMotta down, but he was unsuccessful due to the referee stopping the fight when it seemed like he'd be able to knock Jake out, getting a TKO victory and ending the rivalry. These two Hall of Famers put together a rivalry that would stand the test of time over 6 fights, showing how different boxing was during their time. Will we ever see something like this again? Probably not. Don't get your hopes up.